May I ask you two questions? In your opinion, what is the major strength of Palantir? And at the same time, what is the major weakness of Palantir? Now, I do understand putting you on the spot. This might seem like a very hard and difficult question, but please allow me to try to answer the questions I asked you with my own answers, and let's see if both our answers align and jive with one another. Palantir's major strength is the ability to be unique and bring massive value to the end users in their AI data analytics platform. And this is more evident every single day because their quote unquote competitors do not have the same type of depth and ability to do AI data analytics in the same shape and form that Palantir can do it. Actually, Palantir is super deep, while their competitors are super shallow, which just means Palantir can do a whole lot of shit compared to its competitors. Palantir's weakness is its inability to showcase that same uniqueness and therefore allowing its competitors to be perceived as just as unique and valuable in a technical standpoint. However, perception is not exactly reality, but we do have a case of if a tree falls in the forest but nobody is there to hear it, did it or did it not make a sound? And in this case, Palantir is that tree. Now, if I was able to capture your answers or your perceived thoughts on the questions with my own answers, that means that we are in some way, shape, and form aligned in our thought process. And if that is the case, I urge you and welcome you to join me for this video because I do believe that you're gonna get a lot out of it. In this video, I would like to outline the last 2 months or so of Palantir's unique, dynamic shift and pivot reversal in the way that they market and showcase that uniqueness. For lack of better words, they started playing the game and making their presence and their uniqueness and their abilities known to not only the general public, but starting to be known to the broader public as well as Wall Street and analysts. It seems like Palantir is upgrading their game from playing checkers to playing masterful chess. See, Palantir has a very interesting dilemma where up until now, they relied on the best technology will always win. And they seldomly focused on a transparent and on-display marketing tactic. Sometimes this is by design as they can't speak about classified and sensitive projects. But at other times, it's a pure lack of will to market themselves. And maybe even fair to say, an absolute stubbornness to showcase their skills and only rely on those inherent skills. In this video, I will make an argument that Palantir is in fact pivoting and shifting its focus to marketing the product to the public. And may I say that if this is something that you are personally interested in, please take the next 5 seconds to take a break so that you can like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for that. Without further ado, let's get to the next part of this video, shall we? Over the last 2 months, you could see that Dr. Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir, as well as Palantir as a company in its whole, have been doing a massive marketing campaign. I'm gonna name just a few dates, and these dates are gonna focus on specifically media, like moving media, video, interviews, not just the publicated word, like publications, blogs, that's different, which I'll talk about. Just in media, going on interviews, check these dates out. In the beginning of September, on September 3rd, Dr. Alex Karp was on the UK Financial Times Festival doing a Q&A speaking about Wall Street and how Wall Street does not clearly understand Palantir. This is one of his strongest interviews. He was clear, he was calm, he was collective, and it was actually a pleasure to listen to him speak. I'm not the only one that feels that way. A lot of people have seen this interview. If you did not see this interview, I'm going to leave a link down below in the description. I'm also going to leave a link down below in the description to all of the videos that I'm talking about right now. Following the September 3rd interview, Dr. Alex Karp had a September 13th interview, and this was a 45-minute interview with legendary investor Stanley Druckenmiller. And Stanley Druckenmiller is not only a legendary investor in the billionaires, multi-billionaire status, he's also one of the OG backers of Palantir and, of course, Dr. Alex Karp. And Stanley had a 45-minute interview explaining some of the reasons of why he absolutely adores Palantir, why he continues to back Palantir, and why he will continue to back Palantir. Besides for focusing on Palantir, they did go into the economy. They spoke about a lot of other things, but it was extremely nice for the community to see one of these OG backers, one of these huge names in the economic community, financial investing community, to reiterate and support Palantir. I actually spoke to another channel who didn't so much enjoy Palantir, doesn't really like Palantir, but at the same time respects and knows who Stanley Druckenmiller is. And when I said Stanley Druckenmiller was one of the first investors into Palantir, they were completely shocked that Stanley is invested in a company like Palantir. What does this tell you? This tells you that most people have no idea who backs Palantir, no idea what Palantir does, and no idea of the massive opportunity and potential of Palantir. Instead of digging deep into Palantir like the Palantir community, shout out to everybody in Twitter, YouTube, and the Discord, of course, they just go on the top level. They don't dig deep. Allowing for these type of interviews with Stanley and the CNBC interviews that I'm about to talk about and all of these other Q&As allows for people to really understand what Palantir is and try to associate Palantir with some of the biggest, brightest, baddest minds in the investment community that for some reason people don't understand that Palantir has a shit ton of backers. People think that they only have government business and they don't have any thriving commercial business, which couldn't be further from the truth. Their commercial business is growing leaps and bounds above their government business, and their government business is now catching up to the commercial business in terms of share growth. About a week or two later, on September 22nd, Dr. Alex Karp had another interview with CNBC Squawk Box. When I say another interview, because he has been on CNBC Squawk Box several times, he actually has another interview later on in October, which I'll talk about as well. And Dr. Alex Karp was talking about the escalating war in Ukraine. He was talking about the looming energy crisis. And again, just making it known, Palantir is here. Palantir is for bad times. Palantir is for black swan events. Palantir called this a long time ago, and just bringing eyes and ears onto Palantir. And at the end of the day, that's what you really want to do. You want people to see what you're showcasing. But if you're not showcasing what you're doing, it is very difficult for people to see, especially with a controversial product as Palantir. Like it or not, most of the world don't understand Palantir if they know them at all, and most of the world hates Palantir due to the media and the narrative that is perceived and pushed about Palantir. And the only way to counter this is to push our own narrative, which we believe is right, and the truthful narrative of Palantir to shed some light on what Palantir exactly does. About a week or two ago, there was the Warsaw Summit, which basically all the European unions came together. They started talking about, the military, defensive, offensive, of course, the war, nuclear, all these things. And Dr. Alex Karp was a lead speaker. He had an amazing Q&A from the audience, and he had an amazing speech. This is one of the greatest performances that he's ever had. And what I'm going to say is every single video that I'm going to talk about right now, he got better and better and better. And then I'm going to come to a conclusion at the end of this video. And if you missed that video, I will be leaving a link down below. However, I do have a link up above. You guys can click on this. This link is to my specific channel. So I prefer that you click this link instead of that link, but it's all up to you. Finally, a week ago, Palantir announces a partnership between Palantir and Hertz. Now, in the Palantir community, we knew about this over a year ago. Shout out to my man Ether Squared, who has his dossiers and he checks all the links of Palantir. So we knew about this in the community. However, it wasn't publicized and it wasn't public, and there could be many different reasons as of why, but it finally was. So now the CEO of Hertz and the CEO of Palantir, Dr. Alex Karp, go on CNBC and talk about this partnership. And honestly, this was the greatest interview from Dr. Alex Karp ever. And the CEO of Hertz was giving Dr. Alex Karp a bunch of layups, and Dr. Alex Karp was just slam dunking this interview left and freaking right. Finally, today was announced a customer conference which will be live on the Palantir channel on October 27th. I will be filming this live. It will be at 1:30 Eastern time. It will be live on my channel. Please join me. I might have some guests on my channel. And basically, this is going to be specifically for commercial growth, the commercial market, where it's going to be current clients and potential clients are going to be speaking. They didn't have a customer presentation day since 2020 when they went public. It is extremely important to have these type of days because you get to see Palantir in a different light. You get to see Palantir through the eyes of their clients and potential clients and hopefully get some amazing, amazing insight of Palantir. Now, it's also very important to understand, besides for all the media days that I mentioned, they have a ton of blog posts and they have a bunch of written articles and things like that besides for the media. I just wanted to focus on the dates of the media. Now, it's evident to see the shift in Palantir's game. As I mentioned earlier, they are shifting from playing checkers to playing a masterful and wonderful game of chess, where every single move is now calculated and done with intent. More importantly, and I'm not sure if this is coming naturally and organically, or he is being trained to do this. Maybe they brought in a tutor of how to speak in public, but Dr. Alex Karp and Palantir in general is absolutely shifting and pivoting like Mike Tyson in his freaking prime. They're doing a really, really good job in getting a second wind and bringing this game on home in the second half of this never-ending game. Now, Palantir does not need to reinvent the wheel when it comes to marketing. They already reinvented the entire road when it comes to AI data analytics and their specific technology. All they need to do is play the game and showcase what they do better than anybody else. And if they do this, they will showcase this not just to retail and institutional investors, which are very much needed, but they will open up the eyes of Wall Street and, more importantly, the analysts. Currently, if I'm not mistaken, Palantir has 11 analysts that are covering Palantir, as opposed to Snowflake that has over 30 analysts that are covering them. Why? Nobody cares about Palantir for several reasons. One of the reasons is currently being fixed with this media blitz. But Palantir has a meme-like culture, a meme-like following, a meme-like army. In no way, shape, or form are we a meme, but you guys understand what I mean. They have an amazing, amazing community. And this was built organically. Usually you do need Wall Street. Usually you do need more media. Usually you do need more analysts in order to gain this. However, Palantir is able to do this naturally and organically. And if they can push on this, if they could expand on this, well, the future of Palantir is obviously extremely bright. Now, if you like this type of content and you agree with me, do me a favor and leave me a comment down below. And while you're leaving me a comment down below, please make sure to subscribe, because next week I have a banger update video for Palantir. And we're gonna have the Palantir earnings coming up very soon. And I don't want you to miss that. So make sure to click on the notification bell as well. But if you are thirsty for some more Palantir content, or maybe DNA Ginkgo Bioworks content, please click on any one of these videos right here. I'm sure it's gonna quench your thirst. Until my next amazing Palantir video. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to say, you are amazing and I appreciate you. Peace.